So today we are doing the fourth video in our 8-week series top to toe. So today we're focusing on the back. You will need a yoga strap or a dressing gown cord or a scarf for today. So with the back, there are loads of brilliant things we can do in yoga to mobilise the back. There's not a great deal we do in our yoga practice that strengthens the back. So if you only practice yoga for your form of movement and exercise, it's a great idea to consider using resistance bands and weights in your yoga practice to help you to strengthen areas such as the back. But there are other sports and activities that we do using weights, for example, that help us to strengthen through the back. But there's lots of beautiful mobilisations that we can do in yoga. So we're going to start today lying on the mat. And a lot of what we do today in this class is focusing on a cat-cow movement. So just lie on the mat with the knees bent, feet flat down on the floor, making sure that your feet are not too close to your bottom here. Resting the hands down to the sides. I'm going to just move my arms a bit further out so you can see what's happening. And just start today with the eyes closed, just taking focus on the breath for a moment or two. And feel free to keep the eyes closed or open the eyes as we do this. We're going to focus just on the lower part of the back. So this section here round where the hips and the pelvis are. So from there we're going to just notice what happens with the back. So we've got the head, the shoulders, the upper and mid back pressing against the mat, and there'll be most probably a little gap in the lower back here, and obviously a gap at the back of the neck. So as we breathe in, we're going to allow that gap in the lower back to increase, and as we breathe out, we're drawing that lower back into the mat, so we flatten the back. So breathing in, we arch, breathing out, we flatten. Now just imagine the hips are on rolling pins here. As we breathe in, we're rolling that rolling pin forwards. Breathing out, rolling that rolling pin back. So it's like we're tilting the pelvis forwards and drawing the pelvis back. So if you know about pelvic tilts, we're taking an anterior pelvic tilt here and then a posterior pelvic tilt as we draw the lower back into the mat. So continue with those pelvic tilts, breathing in, arching, breathing out, flattening. Taking that a couple more times. And the next time we breathe in and arch, we're going to allow the arch to travel up the spine a bit, so the back of the ribs start to lift now. And we're going to lower the lower back and then lower the lower ribs. So inhaling, arch and lift all the way up through to the ribs. Flatten, drawing all the way down to the ribs. And don't worry if you feel like your hips sort of feel like they're lifting off the mat a little bit as you flatten, that's cool too. So as we inhale, we're going to reach all the way up the spine now. So we're pushing down through the shoulder blades, but trying to lift everything else. And as we flatten all the way down in a wave up to the shoulders. So arching from the pelvis first, waving all the way up. And then flattening pelvis first, waving all the way down. Taking that a couple more times. Although this doesn't look like a big movement, it feels like a big movement here. So the next few times we do this, we're going to try and arch and round through the spine as much as we can, trying to open out and then flatten it down. So moving out, feeling like you're creating this curve and then flattening. So we're creating this curve, waving up and then flattening down. Taking that once or twice more. And you'll find that the centre of your shoulder blades lift off the mat as well. And then the centre of the shoulder blades flatten. Last time. And come into neutral there. Okay, so let's draw the knees into the chest. We can either keep a hold of the knees or the back of the thighs or allow the arms to reach above the head. We're creating a little roundness to the spine as we do this. So we're going to wave from head to tail, rock from head to tail rather. And take that a few more times if you like. And then we'll come all the way up to the top of the mat. Okay, lovely. So we're going to come on over to all fours. And we're going to come to lie on the belly now. And as we come to lie on the belly, take the arms forwards so that we've got the elbows further than the shoulders and the elbows further out. You can put one hand on top of the other if you like. And from here you'll notice that your lower back and your mid back are grounding down into the mat. We can lift the chest a little bit here, so we feel like we're able to draw the chest forwards, yet relax through the shoulders. Taking whatever you like with the gaze, you can look directly forwards or down towards the mat, whichever works for you. And just take a few moments here. So feeling like your mid and your lower back are all sort of really melting into the mat here, yet you're just gently drawing the chest forwards and drawing the chest away from the mat a little. Now we're going to bring the elbows closer together and maybe a little bit closer towards the shoulders here. And you'll notice that the top of your ribs are now starting to draw away from the mat. Keep drawing the chest forwards. And from here you probably, most likely, will be starting to feel this in the rest of the back. So what I'd like you to do here is imagine we're drawing our front waistband up towards the head. So what has happened there is we've had a little tilt. So see my bottom's raised here, and now I'm drawing the bottom into the floor by the action of drawing my front waistband up. So stay there for a little moment. Feel like those ribs continue to draw away from the mat. Maybe shuffle those elbows in a little bit closer, a bit further underneath the shoulders. And continue doing that until you come into this Sphinx position here. So the elbows are directly underneath the shoulders now, grounding down through the forearms. And feel like you're sort of pushing down into the mat, yet drawing the elbows and the whole of the forearms and the hands back towards the feet, like you're scooping yourself forward. So the chest keeps drawing forwards, grounding down, the chest is growing away from the mat. And again, keep drawing that front waistband up. You'll notice your glutes are nice and active there. Relaxed shoulders. Now we're all very different in our back. This may be a really strong pose for you, or it may be the easiest thing in the world. Just be mindful of what feels good and doesn't feel good for you throughout today's practice. Okay, let's take the elbows wide, lower all the way down. Take the hands out to the sides. So we've got the arms wide. So I've got a little bend in the elbows, fingertips are down, heel of the hand is raised. We're going to lift on up, and we can sort of wave a little bit here if you want to add a little bit of movement. We've got the arms like so, lifting Lowering, no right, no wrong, just move around a little bit. Shoulders can move. Okay, lift yourself a little bit higher if you like. And from here, we're going to bring the hands in a little bit closer. You may wish to bring the hands flat to the floor at this point. And we're lifting ourselves up a little bit. As we lift ourselves up a little bit, take one foot over to the opposite side. Tap the floor and lift the knee. So you'll see one arm straightening, one arm's bent. Lower it down and take it over to the other side. So opposite foot comes over and then lower it down. Continue side to side there. So I'll show you from the side. We're bringing the foot over, lift the knee as high as you can and lower it down. So we're getting a rotation to the spine here. Feel free to bring the hands even closer or take the hands further away, whichever works for you. Couple more times each side. And then we'll come all the way down. Okay, let's pop ourselves back up to all fours again. So from our tabletop, we're keeping the wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Feel free to take the hands a little bit further or a bit wider, or turn the fingers out a little bit if that works for your wrists better. Okay, so let's take a few rounds of cat-cow. So think about what we were doing with the back flat to the floor. So think about when we arched through the spine, so we were drawing the back away from the floor when we took that full movement. And then think about when we pushed the back into the mat. So as we breathe in, feel like you're drawing the front of the body away from the floor like we did when we were lying on the mat. And then pushing the body back into the mat. And we're still waving from the lower all the way to the upper back, starting with the pelvis. So continue with that movement. Take that once or twice more. And then we're going to come to neutral. So what I'd like you to do here is simply take a cat-cow with the lumbar spine, with the lower back. So try to keep your upper body pretty much still. Yeah, we're doing a cat-cow simply with the lower back. You may find this is easy, or it may be really quite challenging for you. So the idea of this is just to isolate, get our heads around isolating different parts of the back. Coming to neutral, we're going to do exactly the same with the upper body. Move as slow or as fast as you like. Just make sure you're able to keep the lower back relatively still as we move through the upper back. And we'll come into neutral. We're going to sit back onto the heels for a little moment. We'll rotate the wrists, so bring the hands into fists, rotate the wrists in one direction and then the other. Okay, let's come all the way onto the belly again. So from the belly, we're going to reach the arms forwards. So as you reach the arms forwards, have the feet about hip distance wide. We're going to take opposite hand and leg away from the mat and then drop it down again. Go for the other side. So as we do so, we're pushing down through the pockets. So we're pushing down where our jeans pockets would be. And we're going to lift by extending finger and toes and feeling like they're gradually being drawn up towards the ceiling, but we're still pushing down through those pockets, and lower it down. Move on to the other side. Couple more times. And if this is a bit grumbly in the lower back, really think about pushing the pelvis into the mat as well. And then we'll come all the way to neutral. Let's pop ourselves back up to all fours once more. And we're going to take another round of cat-cow with a difference. So we're going to bring right knee and left hand towards each other. If they can, have them meeting in the centre of the mat. And we're going to take a cat-cow from there. So you may find that there's no difference, but you may well find that there's a big difference here. If you have scoliosis, where the spine curves, you may find that this is a great way to get into the benefits of cat-cow. So let's take it in the other direction. So again, if you do have scoliosis, it depends on which way your spine curves as to whether this is a different sensation for you, one side or the other. Okay, let's come back to neutral. Lovely. From all fours, we're going to take our right foot forwards into a low lunge, reaching the arms up. We're going to take the arms wide into cactus arms. As we take an in-breath, we're going to draw the chest up, draw the elbows back. As we take an exhale, we're bringing the elbows towards each other, tucking the chin and rounding the spine in the opposite direction. So inhaling, opening through the chest, and exhaling, drawing it back in. Inhale, open the chest. Exhale, draw it back in. Coming back to neutral here, we're going to pop the hands down to the floor and go for the other side. Okay, take the arms out wide into our cactus arms. Inhale, drawing the chest away and up, elbows come back. Exhaling, drawing the chin in, rounding through the spine. Inhaling, arching. Exhaling, rounding. One more time. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. Coming into neutral, and we'll pop the hands down onto the floor again. So, coming back to all fours, let's tuck the toes, come into our downward facing dog, walking on the spot there. Okay. And we're going to walk the feet towards the hands, nice and slowly. When we get to the top of the mat, really soften the knees as we fold it down. So the reason I always like to have bent knees as we come into our forward fold is that it takes any tightness or pressure off the lower back here. So if we're trying to force ourselves to have straight legs, we're forcing into our back muscles. So this should be a relaxing place to be. And we're going to bring the hands onto the shins now. As we do so, now we can lift the hips up towards the sky and straighten the legs and get that hamstring stretch. And we can draw the crown of the head forward so we get this straight line to the back. With this straight line to the back, you'll already notice you're tapping into the muscles of the back. We're strengthening the muscles of the back. And we can even do this with the hands on the hips. And if you find that the hands either need to be further up for you to get that straight spine, or you can have the fingertips down onto the floor, both of those options are great too. Okay, let's soften the knees as we come all the way up to stand, and then bring the hands together at the heart. Okay, lovely. So Let's reach those arms all the way up. Soften it down into a forward fold. Bring the hands to the shins once again. Take it back to a plank pose. When we come into our plank pose, high or low, we can lower all the way to the floor. Okay, keep the hands where they are, untuck the toes. And I'd like you from here just to, don't go all out here, just push down through the hands and lift the chest up. So we're making this movement come through the hands here. Already, you may well, if you're like me, feel that that is just grumbly on the lower back, because all we're doing is we're forcing with the hands to open the back up, which puts all this pressure on here and doesn't feel that nice. So let's push ourselves back to all fours, tuck the toes. The way I like to get into an upward dog or cobra variation is this way, which feels much nicer in the back, and we can really tap into what's going on. So keeping the toes tucked, taking in breath here. As we exhale, arch the spine like we're coming into that cat pose, so really arching. And as we inhale, we're drawing the hips forwards. We're coming into a cat pose with the shoulders, so shoulder blades draw together. We're drawing the chest forwards. Feel free to stay here. You can lift the knees away from the mat here if you prefer. Keep grounding down through the hands. And then pop the knees down, arch through the spine, and come into our child's pose. From here, we're going to lift into a downward facing dog. Take a moment or two there. Let's wave up the spine, coming into a plank pose. When we get there, lower all the way down to the floor. Untuck the toes. We're going to grab our yoga strap. So, take a hold of your strap and hold the strap wider than the shoulders. Hold the strap above you, so we're still looking down towards the floor. Hands much wider than the shoulders here to start with. Keep that yoga strap taut. We're not having a saggy yoga strap here, nice and taut. So lift the arms so that you feel like the arms, like the yoga strap, is above the crown of the head here. And as we breathe in, keep reaching the arms forwards, yet lift your chest and try to keep the strap above the crown of the head. And then lower it down. Doing that once or twice more. So keep the strap above the crown of the head. Inhale, lift on up. Exhale, lower down. So you'll notice you're probably not going to lift all that far because we're relying on the muscles in the back to lift us, which is great. So when we get down here, we're going to release the strap, leave it where it is, tuck the toes, push all the way back to our child's pose. So keeping the toes tucked, we're going to feel like we're coming into a cat pose, but as we lift into our cat, we're going to start to slide the hands in towards the knees and start to lift on all the way up here, like we're just unfurling. And then we can reach the arms out wide and reach the arms towards the back of the room, lift through the chest. And from here, come all the way back onto the heels. Okay, lift on up to stand on the knees. We're going to take our right foot forwards for a lunge. And we're going to open up the arms here. Excuse me, I'm just getting a thing in front of me. So as we open up the arms, draw the chest forwards. And as we bring the arms forwards, we're going to round the spine, straighten the front leg a little bit. So reach as far forwards as you can and draw the hips back as you straighten the leg. Inhale, open out, so that front knee bends again. Take the arms wide, lift through the chest. And as we take the arms forward, straighten the front leg. It's a bit of a wobbly one. Go nice and slow. The toes can lift if they want to or stay on the floor. Inhaling, opening out, and exhaling forwards. Okay, one more time. Inhale, open out, lifting through the chest. Exhale, take it forward, rounding through the spine. And then we'll come back to that low lunge. Let's swap on over. Pop the knee down, take the other foot forwards for our low lunge. So, taking the arms out wide, chest draws forwards. Exhale, so the leg straightens as we lean it forwards. Inhale, open the arms. Exhale, take it forwards. Taking that 2 more times. Lifting the chest and then rounding it forwards. Last one. And come on back to that lunge. Pop the knee down and tuck the toes. Come back into that child's pose. So from here we're going to lift on up to a cat pose. So keep the hands where they are this time. Lifting to our cat. Drawing the hips and the shoulders forwards. Now allow the shoulder blades to slide together. Feel free to untuck the toes if you want to lift the knees into your up dog, or keep the knees down, keep drawing the chest forwards. Take it back to our tucked toes, child's pose. And we're going to lift on up to downward facing dog. Waving it forwards to our plank. We'll lower all the way down to the floor. So from here, untuck the toes, reach forwards, grab a hold of that strap again. Once more, keeping the hands wider than the shoulders. So we're going to keep that strap taut again. Lift the hands so the hands are, the strap is above the crown of the head. Now as you draw the chest away from the floor and forwards, stay where you can with the body, but the arms can reach around behind us, flossing the shoulders. And then bring that strap forwards again and lower all the way down. So lift on up through the chest, chest draws forwards and up. Keep the strap above the head for a moment. Keep that strap active as we reach the band back and forwards. Keep pushing down through the pockets here. Lifting up, flossing the shoulders once more. And then bringing it forwards. Okay, leave the strap there. Pop the hands down to the floor. Push it back all the way to our tucked toes, not toes, child's pose. Okay, let's lift on up to our cat's pose. We're going to draw the chest forward, soften the shoulders down, untuck the toes if you wish, stay in your cobra so you can lower it down further if that works better for you. And then take it all the way back. Lift on up to our downward facing dog. Wave it forwards to a plank. And lower all the way down to the floor. Okay, lovely. So, let's take a hold of the strap once more. So this time, we can have the knees bent and the toes lifting up towards the ceiling. So keep that band active, lift the hands a little bit, draw the chest away from the mat, draw the chest forwards, floss the shoulders and see if your band comes near towards the feet. You may well have touched or you may just feel like you're nearly there. And then bring it all the way down. Okay, straighten out the legs. Let's do that one more time. But as we reach the arms up and over, bend the knees at the same time and see if they touch or completely miss like mine did. And then come all the way back. Okay, leave the band where it is. Tuck the toes, pop the hands down, come all the way back to that child's pose. And when we're there, we're coming into the cat, but sliding the hands in at the same time now. It's like we're growing, we're unfurling away from the floor. And as we come to stand, we're reaching the arms back in whatever way you wish and lifting through the chest. Okay, come to stand on the knees. We're going to take our right foot forwards into our lunge. Okay, so from here, take the arms out to the sides in our cactus arms. We're going to bring our left elbow on top of the right. So right knee's forward, left elbow comes over the right. Bring the hands together into eagle arms, or if that doesn't work for the shoulders, bring the hands onto the shoulders. Draw the elbows away and up here. And you'll notice as you draw the elbows away and up, you'll be lifting through the chest automatically. Okay, stay here, or if you wish, kick back through the back heel to lift into a high lunge. And what we're going to do here is keep drawing the elbows away and up, yet soften the back knee at the same time. So that enables us further to lift through the chest. If we're not softening the back knee, all we're doing is hinging in our lower vertebrae. Bending the back knee, we're really opening through the whole of the front of the body. Let's draw those elbows forwards. Drop the back knee all the way down to the floor. Unravel the arms. Come back to kneeling. And take your left foot forwards for our lunge. That was very heavy-footed of me. Reach the arms out to the side. Good. We're going to take our right elbow on top of the left. So left foot's forwards, right elbow comes on top of the left. Come into eagle arms or hands on the shoulders again. Keep your back toes tucked. Draw the elbows forwards and lift them up. So we're already lifting through the chest. Okay, kick back through that back heel if you want to lift into that high lunge. Soften the back knee. Keep drawing the elbows forwards and up. So by bending the back knee, that's automatically giving us an anterior pelvic tilt. And it's allowing us to open through the front of the body rather than hinging in the lower back. And let's bring the elbows forwards, drop that back knee down. Release the arms. Come on down to kneeling. Toes tucked. We're coming back into our child's pose. From here, keep the hands where they are. Arch the spine into our cat. Really enjoy, really arching the spine here. And as we start to draw the shoulders forwards, allow the shoulder blades to soften towards each other. Untuck the toes if you like. Maybe lift the knees or keep the knees down or bend the elbows more. Okay, take it back to our tucked knees, child's pose. And then we're lifting on up to our downward facing dog. Let's wave it forward. So think about drawing in the belly, waving up the spine, taking it really nice and slowly. So we'll end up in a plank pose with a really arched back. Then we're drawing the crown of the head forward, pushing the heels back. We're still keeping a little roundness to the shoulders, but creating a straight line in our plank. Let's lower all the way to the floor. Okay, onto the toes. Grab a hold of your strap again. You'll know where to hold it by now. This time we're going to reach the arms up, and as we bend the knees and draw the hands back, you may be able to hook the strap around the feet. So you'll need to loosen the tension on the band and maybe hook it over like I did. So feel free to hold on to the strap wherever is good for you. So see, I wrapped my hands around it a little bit more. So from here, open up the shoulders, so feel like you're externally rotating. So turn the palms out, lift through the chest, draw the chest forwards. Now push the feet into the strap, and as you do so, the knees may lift away from the floor. If that's not right in your lower back, keep the knees down and keep drawing the chest forwards into your bow pose. My feet are together, yours can be as wide as you like. And then lower it down. Release your bands and bring it above the head. We're not using that again, so do whatever you like with it. Pop the hands down, tuck the toes, come all the way back to our child's pose. We're arching into our cat, but this time sliding the hands in so we come all the way up. Okay, so from here, keep those toes tucked. Unless you know you're super bendy in the back and you find everything that we've done today really comfortable and really easy, feel free to untuck the toes. So what we're doing from here is we're lifting the chest, we're reaching one arm forward. So imagine you've got a piece of string attached from the collarbones and the chest to the middle finger of that hand. So reach that hand forwards and imagine that string is pulling the chest forwards. Other hand reaches towards the heel of the back hand. You may well tap the heel of the hand, and then we're going to swap over. You collect that string, reach it forwards, pop the hand down. Go over to the other side, collect the string, reach it forwards, hand comes to the heel. Take that the other way, and let's do one more each time. And this time, feel like you're drawing the hips forwards at the same time. Okay, good. So, we're going to take our right foot forwards, keeping the left toes tucked. So reach the arms up. So collect that string again from your chest with your left hand. Reach that left hand forwards, drawing the chest forwards. Our right hand now is going to reach towards our right heel. Don't worry if you twist through the body here, that's fine. As soon as you find that heel, if you find the heel, if you've comfortably found the heel, keep reaching that string away and keep lifting the chest, look up towards the hand. You may even wish to reach back with that hand a little bit more. Keep the chest, keep the hips lifting, and bring the hand down, slide the hand up the leg to come back to our lunge. And we'll swap over to the other side. So take your right foot forwards, left knee comes down onto the mat. Let's collect the string from our chest with our right hand, reach it forwards, draw the hips forwards, open through the ribs, left hand comes down towards the heel, keep opening, so pushing forwards through the hips, opening through the chest, opening through the ribs, drawing the chest forwards. Look on up, maybe reach it back a little. Bring that hand forward, slide the hand all the way down. Coming back to kneeling. Okay, so keep the toes tucked, come back into our child's pose. One last time coming into cat, keep the hands where they are. Rounding through the spine. Coming into our cow shoulders, so shoulders blades slide together. Untuck the toes if you like, bend the elbows more if you prefer. And let's take it all the way back to our toes tucked child's pose. Let's lift up to downward dog. Waving it forwards to a plank. Lower to the floor. When we get to the floor, push yourself straight back up to plank or all fours. Take it back to downward dog. If you're in all fours, stay on all fours, because we're going to come all the way down to toes tucked child's pose again. Very last time here, we're going to arch into cat, slide the hands in so we come all the way up to standing. Again, keep the toes tucked unless you're happy that you don't need them to do so. Bring the hands onto the hips. Okay, think about this opening through the hips. Think about the hips drawing out away from each other as well as forward. So we're expanding through the hips. Chest is drawing, ribs are drawing forwards and chest is lifting up. So opening up through the front of the body. If you want to go for a full camel pose, and you can find the heels with the hands, just keep opening through the front of the body. Doing whatever you can with the neck here. So keep the chin tucked if you would prefer. And to come out, tuck the chin. Use the core muscles to help you come all the way back and then sit back down. Okay, pop the bottom on the floor. Bring the feet in front of us. Come to sit in our staff pose here, so feet can be together or apart, whichever is more comfortable for you. Pop the hands behind you. Ground down through the fingertips so we can lift the chest. Okay, so already we're using back muscles to keep us upright here, but we've got the hands to help prop us up. So what our ultimate goal is with this pose is to be able to bring the hands onto the thighs and comfortably stay here. So, okay, we're using hip flexors and core muscles to keep us upright here, but we're also relying on the strength of the back to keep us upright rather than the slouching forward. So there's a whole lot going on here just for this really simple thing. But if you can sit upright like this for a couple of minutes each day, we're going to get stronger. We spend so long slouching into chairs that we often find it difficult to keep ourselves up here. Taking a couple more breaths. And then we're going to come down to lie here. So what we're going to do now is bring the hands together in front of us. Now we're going to slouch back, because I'd like you to point the toes and scoop in the belly. So by doing this, when we lower down, we're relying on our core muscles rather than our back to help us lower ever so slowly to the floor. Keep your heels down touching the mat and go as slow as you possibly can. Stay with the wobble if you're wobbling. Try and hold it for as long as you can. And go as slow as you can to lower all the way to the floor. And try to avoid collapsing as we get to the bottom. Reach the arms away. Keep the fingers interlaced. Push the fingers away from the toes. And draw your mid back down into the floor as we stretch here. So we're back to that flattened position that we started with the little gentle curve of the lower back and the back of the ribs pushing against the mat. And let's release the fingers. Hug the knees into the chest. And we can really hug the knees. We can draw the nose up towards the knees. Come into this fetal position. Take a really big in-breath here. And as we exhale, soften all the way to the mat. Allow the feet to drop down. Allow the shoulders to drop down. Find your comfy place. So fidget around on the mat as much as you need to. I recommend for your Shavasana today that you keep the knees bent, take the feet mat distance wide and knock the knees together. And we can still turn the palms up to the sky to open up through the shoulders and tucking the chin. So by having this position with the legs, we're just really softening through the lower back and just allowing complete relaxation there. And let's bring our attention to the breath, holding it there for several minutes. And continue lying in your Shavasana, taking as long as you like. And whenever you're ready to come out of Shavasana, just wiggle through the fingers and toes. Take some nice little gentle movements side to side. And when you're ready to come up, come on up. Stay there as long as you like. Thank you very much. Namaste. See you next time.